And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, we have Police Chief Lance Bateman here and Deputy Chief Albert O'Donnell as well. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How's life behind the badge this morning?
Good.
Until the wind starts blowing.
Right. Until, life, things happen. So, yeah. But first off, thank you guys for spending time with us on the show. Appreciate it. It's always great to talk to, our folks that see the day-to-day, what's going on in Roswell and stuff. And I always tell people, if you really want to see all of what Roswell's like, talk to a law enforcement officer. They see every nook and cranny of it, and they know the good parts, the bad. And there's parts of Roswell that some folks, you wouldn't, that's Roswell? Yes. And the only people usually see it are people that live there in law enforcement, generally speaking. So you guys have that unique kind of finger on the pulse of everything there. And it's kind of, and you guys can't do your job unless that's pretty much the only way you guys can, your officers, when they're out there, they're in the neighborhoods. They know, they're going, because they work like beats, right? They have their area, and so they're there every day, and so they know, what's weird and what's just part of the neighborhood kind of thing. And that's how your men and women do their job every day, pretty much, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We have 7 different zones, I believe, or areas that we have officers in. Of course, they have to jump around to different areas because we're so shorthanded right now.
Which, by the way,
yes,
love to have some more qualified men and women to be part of the team here.
Yeah, I'd love to. We're down, I think, 11 people right now.
You guys are, I've never heard yourself or sheriff or MSP or anybody else for that matter say, you know what, we're good right now. We got enough. You guys are pretty much, even when you're quote unquote at your numbers, that literally you're at your numbers for a week, and then a week later someone retires, or some life happens, and then you're down again. So there's almost never a time when you guys aren't taking applications, or always looking for good qualified people to be part of the badge here. So if you're looking for a career with that you can really make a difference, RPD would love to talk to you about that.
Absolutely. I believe we're testing twice a month right now, our recruiting division, every other Saturday, I think.
Gotcha. What it is. And it's kind of it's a little different than applying for other jobs. I would compare it to, for folks that have joined the military. It's similar in that process. Is you don't walk in one day, raise your hand, and next here's a badge and you go to it. There's qualifications and stuff. Obviously, you go to police academy and things once you're hired on, but you guys really work with them leading up to it to get them ready for that kind of stuff. So by the time you go to the academy and all that, assuming you're getting hired on, you're not flying blind there. But like when you go through these testing dates, you guys work with folks that are really trying to do that and, making sure they're physically, all right, let's work out because you got to meet this need, or you got to pass this test, or we got to study. And so you work with, those candidates as they're going through that process, for the ones that really show the interest, show the drive, show that they have the ability to do this kind of thing.
Yes. So we even have testing, even if you can't come in on a Saturday.
Okay.
Just call us up, and then we'll set something up, a time with you.
Excellent.
So
we can work around your schedule too.
Yes, sir.
That. See, that's they want you to become part of this is, so we're going to work with you. Obviously, the job is not for everybody. This is, if you have a server's heart, if you have the ability to be even keeled in when situations get hairy, because I guarantee you're going to run into one of those as a law enforcement officer. You need those folks that handle pressure, handle well under pressure, can be calm even when someone's yelling at you sometimes, and have the ability to de-escalate rather than escalate things. If you're one of those types of people that kind of are good at talking and negotiating, that'll serve you well as a law enforcement officer, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, and when we get them into it, what I like about this department is we start the training right away before they even go to the academy. So sometimes we'll have somebody employed 4 or 5 months, and we put them through a field training program.
Give them a taste of what the day-to-day of being a police officer is like.
Exactly. So they're so far ahead by the time they start the academy, and then when they get back out, we can sometimes streamline it to get them directly on the streets instead of having to go through that training after.
Because they've kind of already did that prior to going to the academy.
Yes.
They already got that experience under their belt here, so to speak. So, and then there's also, because I know, like, if you're underage, like, because you got to be 21 to be a Roswell police officer. But if you're 18, you can be a service officer and serve in that capacity. And that's kind of like pre-cop training. And you do a lot of the things law enforcement do. And then when you turn 21, you're going to have that much experience when you go to the academy and go to be a full-fledged law enforcement officer.
Yeah, and it helps them with police report writing or listening to the radio.
Sure.
You know,
some of the minutia
yeah.
of the job here. Some
Yeah.
of the, the day-to-day.
Oh, yes.
That doesn't get on the 8 o'clock, Thursday night drama show,
Yes.
but is very much vital part of the day-to-day of being a police officer.
Yeah, and it's been a huge success for the Roswell Police Department. I think right now we have 2 or 3 that are public service aides, and part of that, when they get hired, they know it builds them up to join the academy at 21. And I think almost everybody we've had since I've been here, at least, has gone right into the academy and become a police officer.
Well, and true, it also gets them familiar with the neighborhood and the neighborhood familiar with them.
Yes.
That relationship is, and so if they spent 2-3 years as a service officer, they're in neighborhoods, they're out in the street answering, like you said, filing reports and doing, they're not doing the.
Yeah, it builds a reputation with the community and with the department.
And so when they do get the full badge and they're there and they walk in the neighborhood, they're already going to have kind of a little bit of a relationship with some of those folks in the community. They already know the cut of that person's jib kind of thing, and so and to be honest, that's how you guys do your job day to day. It's, that trust that gets established between the neighborhoods that you work in and the people that are serving them. And that's how the job does not happen without that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So those folks will be better set up to do that kind of thing and really take the most advantage of it. I do want to ask you, kind of getting out of the recruiting side. Last month we got to talk to Deputy Fire Chief, and one of the things that issues, problems with the public they're dealing with that we talked about. I'm sure you deal with this same issue is driving when folks are when EMS, fire, police are trying to get to a scene, and the vehicles are going full lights and sirens and everything. One thing we were, telling the public is, look, those emergency vehicles always will be on the left when you go down. Like if you're going down Main Street and you hear the lights and sirens behind you or whatever, they're going to be left. So your job is to get right. Get right. That left lane, that's the lane we need to free up to allow fire truck, police vehicle, ambulance, whatever emergency vehicle we need to get through there. And so we're kind of educating that. I kind of want to ask you guys, I'm sure you deal with that kind of thing, but is there some other of those kinds of issues that we could share with the public that if you guys would be cognizant of this, you would make our officers' day just that much easier?
I think sometimes, and don't get me wrong, every time I see lights and sirens behind me, if I'm off duty, people tend to freak out.
Sure.
Just don't freak out.
Oh,
yeah. And that's the biggest thing. If they can just come to a safe spot where they can move to the right, you're going to be in the way for a little bit, but it's not a big deal.
Sure.
I'd rather them move out of the way safely than
go crazy
and trying to go crazy and left and right. So that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, be calm. You're right. Because I've seen that too, where I've seen people and they'll be in that left, and I've literally watched them bump the median to get over and almost hit a light pole and probably damage the vehicle and everything. Like, wow, just you don't have to be that urgent. Just let's do this safely here. But I know that's something that and I don't care what census numbers or anyone says. Main Street Roswell is busier than it was 10 years ago. I don't care what anybody says. There's more cars, there's more traffic, there's more people on that road. And so we all need to be cognizant of that stuff.
And I think any emergency vehicle with lights and sirens looks aggressive from the rearview mirror.
Sure.
So
and they're going to be hauling butt depending on the nature of the call there. There's a reason the lights and sirens are on. So
and just stay calm, find a safe spot to move to the right, and we'll be on our way.
Trust me, but the person driving the vehicle is trained to drive it a certain way, and we ask you, the public, to just get over and let them do it. They are, trust me, every police officer, every firefighter that drives one of these vehicles, I'm sure there's extensive training on these are what people do when you turn the lights on and sirens. You have to be cognizant of these things.
Oh, yes.
And so they are well trained, but make their life easier. They've got, and to be honest, the more you're being nervous and being that way, that's seconds that police car, that fire truck is not where it needs to be doing what it needs to do. So that's the big ticket. Is we want to make sure everybody gets safe, but please understand, when you see a police car, you see a fire truck, and it's barreling down that left lane, it's always going to be the left lane. They're always going to be in the left lane. So if you see it, if you're in the rearview mirror and you see you've got a couple blocks to go, just make your way right in a casual way and make it a little easier. Now, and obviously, if you're stuck at a traffic light or something, and you can't move either way, then don't move. Stay there and let the emergency vehicle. They'll navigate accordingly to do that.
Oh yes.
If you're in a jam, they understand that and they'll act accordingly. But if you have the ability to get over, get over.
Yeah, and I think the emergency driving, especially, we've had some incidents in the last 6 months where we've had some crashes. We had one on Main Street. Where
that one was a couple weeks ago. I mean, you can't help it when you drive by it and see it.
Yeah, we had that one on North Main, and then we had one a couple months ago where, unfortunately, a person lost his life. And so trying to do our part also, we've got with FLETC. We're partnering with them to do more hands-on training.
Oh, good. So get your officers
training.
some more experience. Because let's face it, you hope they're not having to do that stuff. But the likelihood of them having to do it, I don't know, once or twice a year is probably not unheard of.
Yeah, and we haven't really gone through it. Once you go through the academy, you don't get training afterwards on like pursuit driving or emergency driving. So FLETC, we reached out to them, and we're doing our first class, I believe, in April with 12 of our officers.
And really the policing philosophy and a lot of that stuff's changed. I'm talking nationally on some of that. I mean, I know some departments, obviously depending on locations and populace and all that, but like when you get in a high-speed chase situation or stuff, a lot of the rules and stuff kind of change on that. And I'm sure with your officers, it's a case-by-case deal. It's like if it's a lot of people, and they're like, we're going to break this off. But we're out in the middle of nowhere, which we have a lot of nowhere of. We can open it up.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's a good, you brought that up, and one of the things we've discussed as a staff is vehicle pursuits are real dangerous.
Yeah.
But there's a reason we're chasing somebody a lot of times.
What you're chasing is way worse if left to its own accord.
It could be. It could be, depending on, a lot of times we'll terminate a pursuit if we know the person that we're chasing, if it's non-felony. But what we've done is we've ramped up a drone program. So we actually have a couple drones.
The technology work for you.
Technology. We've started the Real-Time Crime Center here in Roswell, which is eventually we'll have live cameras on every stoplight, and there are cameras on every stoplight right now, but they're not live.
Sure.
Well,
they're not live.
They're not live.
Recorded. I got you.
So we started this last year, and we have an operations center in the police department, and it's live where somebody will monitor these cameras in public areas.
I think I've seen like I think I saw something on TV, and it was a bigger like a Florida, I think it was more like it was like a spring break situation. It was one of those Florida towns like Fort Lauderdale, one of those. And they literally had, I think what you're talking about here, it's like this room with these cameras or not cameras, monitors. And it almost looks like something out of a Mission Control or something with a bunch of computers. And then literally there's an officer there just monitoring, and they can see, there's some riffraff on this corner, send a unit. There's something going on over here. So that's what you guys are basically setting up here for our community.
Well, yeah, and it'll stop vehicle pursuits. We can track people. We can back off and track them with cameras through town. And
sure, so you can just follow them, and then, all right, they're at the Whataburger now having lunch. Let's go get them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same thing when President Trump was, when the gentleman tried to assassinate him at the golf course. Or, I can't remember, at the park.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the sheriff's department down there in Florida where they were at tracked him on Real-Time Crime Center. Nice. They use their technology, and that's how they end up catching him. So
nice.
We're hoping that'll benefit Roswell. And
just GG was curious, so the person that serves that, is that more like a dispatcher role? Or is that a full-fledged law enforcement officer that does that? I was just curious, because I figure if you call 911, it'd be someone like that's monitoring that, or do you actually have an officer that, I guess if need be, could leave it to go take care of a scene if needed?
It'd be both. So at all times, we'll have an officer in there, a certified police officer, and then civilian staff running them. So
just more eyes.
The reason for the officer is the police team concept. If a civilian were to see somebody driving recklessly or commit a crime,
makes sense.
The officer, a lot of times, depending on the severity of the crime, would have to witness the violation to take immediate action.
So he can
if there's a certified police officer in there, they can use the police team concept. And he's witnessed it, so then he can.
So that makes it testimony and evidence you can use in the court case when you're prosecuting later, and it holds up in court just by having that law. And plus, it's just probably good because at the end of the day, you're going to want, because whatever decisions come out of that hub is you want the law enforcement one to be the final shot on that in case of it. Normally yes we do, but we're going to let that one. You know what I'm saying? Just. They can assess the situation in the emergency level of that moment better than maybe someone that's not trained to do those things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Whereas if you have a dispatcher or something, they can gather information, get information, share information, but assess it and determine what to do with that information. Maybe you want a law enforcement. That if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so that allows for that. So that's cool. It makes sense. But I love that with and I'm. This is the way of the future. I mean, this is going to be to a point where now. Do you think like if we go because you're talking about drones and the technology there? Do you think we'll get to a point where like every officer will have a drone literally in the back of their car sitting there with their other tools, and if they need to whip it out, just go. All right. Well, let's go send this out in the field instead of sending a bunch of officers. I mean, is the future taking us that way?
Well, I think it already has.
Okay.
We already use drones to clear buildings on a high risk.
Gotcha. I just didn't know
search.
if it was as common where, a drone is going to be, like a gun is on their hip, there's going to be a drone in the trunk of their vehicle kind of thing. Are we getting there where it's going to be like that?
Not for every officer, but I know in certain situations we are using drones.
I imagine it is expensive, but
Oh, yeah.
Well, because
these aren't Radio Shack drone choppers. These are a little more high tech.
Well, there's times you can't use it, and you can. So there's stipulations like there's Fourth Amendment laws and stuff. We can't, like with the Real Time Crime Center, we can't just put cameras in front of somebody's house.
Right. There's legalities,
yes.
but then I know but if it's in the public and if it's on the public, then there is no reasonable sense of privacy. Therefore, they're legal. I know it gets iffy on where you can and do that, but pretty much the standard is like say if someone's just walking around the public with their smartphone going, you can't do a thing about that. That's perfectly legal.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like them doing it, there's well within their right. But you can't like set up a camera, leave it there, and say there's rules on how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
And there's rules. We can't just have somebody in the Real Time Crime Center watching certain people walking down the street.
So you can't profile.
You can't profile.
Is the
So
term.
it's
Unless they give you something like, hey, that guy's looking shady. Let me, like, you just grab something. Let me see. I mean, short of that, follow them around for that. But you can't just pick a random person and follow them.
no, yeah.
But if you see them do something like steal something or something, hey, and then you can follow them.
Well, the
They gotta give you a
reactionary
reason.
part is really what's going to help. If somebody commits a burglary in Enchanted Hills, we'll have cameras on stoplights on Sycamore and Second, and so we can a lot of times, get somebody leaving the area.
Absolutely. And I imagine, too, it may make a dent in the biggest part of when you have burglaries and things is getting recovered property back.
Oh, yes.
Usually that's the, okay, we may got the person, but the chances of you getting whatever it is you got stolen aren't, depending on what it is, obviously. But this might, maybe increase those odds a little bit here. I mean, cars and stuff sometimes do, but, and your guns, stereos, things like that, sometimes they disappear, never to see them again. Or you might see them at an auction some year later where they were recovered from another case or something.
Yeah.
Well, and we used that technology yesterday. We're looking for an armed robbery suspect out of Artesia.
Okay.
And supposedly armed and had information he was somewhere in the downtown area maybe. So we deployed our drone and started searching for him, and we ended up eventually finding him and taking him into custody. So
Great. And
technology worked.
The beauty was no one was hurt.
Exactly.
And that's the great part about this stuff is it's nobody's hurt. Everybody goes and everyone lives to fight another day here. And that's the win for you as law enforcement. Whenever you guys come into, and that's something I think we, the public, need to know when a police officer shows up at your home or at your office or wherever at the scene here, they're going to be coming in with first things first, making sure everything's safe and secure. And once that's established, then they'll start talking to you and sorting things out. But please remember, especially, and this is something I think all of us need to learn, and this is that relationship between law enforcement and the community is so important. And I got to be honest, I think we here in Southeast New Mexico, I think overall there's a good relationship with our law enforcement.
Oh, yes.
Like that. But I think some of the animosity is that lack of knowledge between what you guys do and what you know what I mean? And so if I think the public understands the mindset of an officer and why they do these things, then you don't come in all hot and bothered about it. You wonder, because if it's a ramped up situation where people are arguing, where tensions are up, officers are going to come in hot to de-escalate quick, and they're going to do whatever it is to put people in cuffs, to restrain people, whatever it takes to make sure no one's going to be hurting anybody. Once that's established, then you're going to see the switch flip a little bit. All right, let's talk. What's going on? And then you see the psychologist hat come on. let's figure it out. And then from there, they can go, if we need to send some people away for the night, or we just need to tell everybody to calm down, whatever we need to do, they go from there. But that's how law enforcement is going to handle that situation every single time. So if you understand that, if they come in guns blazing a little bit hot, it's because they don't know who's safe, what's safe, for their own safety, for your safety. We need to lock this down the safety side. Once that's established, then we can talk. And that's what happens. And so I think a lot of people would have a lot less problems if you just understood that, comply, be in their restraints, whatever the officer is asking you to do to stabilize that situation for the moment, comply. Because I guarantee once everything's stabilized, the cuffs will come off, you'll start talking, and you'll start acting like humans to each other. And so if we can remember that, I know it's hard, especially if you've already been fighting in a hothead situation, but that's once you see the folks in the badge come up, that's what they're going to be doing every single time. And once that's established, then you're going to see the human side. But until they know that this situation's safe, it's going to be cackles up, on point, whatever protections are needed, we're going to have at the ready, kind of thing. Yeah. So, if I'm wrong there, please
no,
tell
you're
me.
absolutely
But that's
right. Yeah.
That's the mindset. And so once you do that, and it's all part of the training. It's all because when a law enforcement officer walks into one of these situations, they only know what dispatch was able to garner from information. Sometimes it's a lot of information. Sometimes it's not a lot of information. Sometimes it's a lot of information, but not enough information. And so this is why they really are flying blind in a lot of these situations, because the dispatchers do an amazing job of trying to de-escalate, gather information to give every officer that rolls in onto a scene as much knowledge of what they're about to roll into as possible. But it's just physically impossible sometimes. So until that's established, law enforcement will come in hot.
Oh, yeah.
Going to happen every time. So.
Yeah, and our officers go through a lot of de-escalation training, along with a lot of dealing with mentally ill.
Sure.
That's become a big thing in the last couple of years, especially. So we put a lot of our training focus on those two areas.
Yeah, and I know that there's been talks with the city and all this stuff where in counties and state where maybe there's going to be some changes on how we address some of that, where there might be some other people coming in to kind of help law enforcement deal with those situations where law enforcement is there to protect and serve, but maybe some of these other people can help you guys be the psychiatrists out there and de-escalate and solve problems. So I know that's all in the process, how we're doing it. I think everyone sees that this might be a good thing, how we execute it and how we do it, but specifically that's where we're kind of nailing details. But this is some of the future stuff that you're going to see, where you might show up and hanging out with one of our boys and girls in blue is going to be one of these kind of social worker type, de-escalator type persons that can deal with the mental health side of some of these issues.
And even on the flip side, as far as with the public, and we also started the peer support program at the police department, because we're also dealing with some of the issues that we see every day.
Sure.
As officers. So I know we got the chaplains on board. We got 3 chaplains right now. One's fixing to leave, but they come in and hang out with the guys, maybe do some ride-alongs.
Sure.
We also have what's the courthouse dogs come in.
Oh yeah, the DA dogs.
Yes,
and all
sir.
that. Yeah, all, and that's making that connect and making because police officers, we're all people. Everybody's people.
Yes, sir.
And once we realize we're all people, despite what we got on our chest or don't have on our chest, and you're like, okay, it's you know what I mean. That's and this is something too. I always that I think we as families and everything else, and we need to and I know you guys do your part to do this to kind of foster this, but we as families, we need to teach your kids when you see a person wearing a uniform, that's a place for information, resources, safety. Anytime you talk to someone in that's going to be a person of help. And so if you instill that young and that mindset, knowing that, so and make it, and that's why we have our Halloweens and all this, and you let the kids come and light the sirens and because we want the kids and them to see you guys in that light. So when they have to see you again in a different light, they come to you, running to you. And that's something that we as a community need to do. Teach your kids, teach your families, work with them. Show them these are the people that when things don't go right in your community, these are the ones that are going to help you through that. And if we can just instill that at that age, I guarantee some of the vitriol that comes down down later and will disappear. It's all part of we all have to do our part in every little bit. Obviously, law enforcement, you guys have gone through a really I'm going to say rebranding, but really just of how you guys do your training. And I'm sure when you guys were first bald-faced boys signing, what you were taught as a law enforcement officer is way different than what you guys are experiencing here as leadership in the RPD.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a lot different. And I think going back on the kids growing up and stuff, we've expanded our school resource officer program. So we had 2, now we have 4. And I think that's a big thing. They do an awesome job in the schools, and it's teaching these kids from a young age that we're there to support them and help them.
Sure.
And
they're like buddies there in the campuses, the various campuses that they all kind of work at. They're looked at again, like they're not teachers, but they're looked at in that same light as people to talk to. I mean, I imagine half your school officers, they're probably psychiatrists. Oh, Bobby's got a thing with so and so, and what do I do about that? And I bet half of them are telling them how to navigate that kind of stuff. I would bet my paycheck that's what they're doing in there.
Oh yeah, and they do. They go to a lot of the school activities, football games, and they interact with these young adults and even young children at the smaller schools, and they build that relationship to where they're comfortable around them. And
sure.
It also helps us in the long run when you build that relationship. They're more apt to talk to a police officer about a crime they may have
saw
seen
something or witnessed something. They're going to be like, well, that's good people there. They need to know about this. And that's policing in a nutshell, folks. That's how it works, is that relationships with the community and everything else. And looking at and that's the mindset that we, the public, you don't look at law enforcement as, yes, at need be, they're the ones that are going to, protect and serve the law and make sure the law is being followed. That's at the end of the day, that is in the mission statement of what a police officer does. But there's so many levels to that, and that's where because we don't have to arrest and throw everybody in jail if we can just say, can you agree on this for a minute? And that's really what I'm going to take a guess. A typical shift for a law enforcement officer is that they're just going in, handling arguments, disputes, being referees, being just, all right, can we work this out here? And literally being just minor problem solvers. And,
yes.
The part you see on TV, the part you see in the videos, that's this much of the job.
Oh, yes.
Most of it is talking to people on a daily basis, sitting there, probably, when they're on a lunch break, they're sitting in there, and then there's someone talking to them, and they're just, hey, man, have you been doing this? Have you been keeping up with this? Mentoring and people in the public. And, that's the day-to-day of a law enforcement officer.
Oh, yes.
So that being said, kind of going back to the recruitment side of it, if you like that stuff, if you love talking to the public and being that kind of person that walks in the room and everyone looks to and says, you know what, that's a person I can trust. That's what this career is. And now you're going to have to earn that. You're going to have to learn it. You're going to have to earn the respect of the people you go. But you'll do that through your training and through your personality.
Yeah. It's like the chief says. Sometimes he thinks I'm a social butterfly. if you like being a social butterfly,
you got to.
You got to be.
Yeah, and the great part is, I'm going to take a stab that when you have officers that are from here, that live in the area and know the area, they're going to have a better ability to connect because they already got established relationships, friends, families. That being said, you'll take law enforcement officers, if they're qualified and meet the needs and do everything. They're not from here, no big deal. But I would imagine if you're from here and live here, that is going to be a bigger advantage to you as a law enforcement officer for the Roswell Police Department. And that is something that I'm going to say you two men probably would find attractive in hiring that person.
Well, if you're from here and this has been your community forever, you take, I think, a little
Take
more
pride in it,
ownership
too.
and
Oh, yeah.
pride.
Absolutely.
In
It's
in
my
that
town, man.
And it's the same thing, with the fire department and police department. So most of the people in those organizations are hometown people. And,
Sure.
And I think we get more recruitment from family members or friends. We have a lot of
Law enforcement is a family business.
Yes.
A lot of times, if mom or dad serve the children, are pretty good odds that they if they don't serve in that department, they serve some department.
Oh, yeah.
They serve in the badge as well too. That's fire, same thing. All those guys, I mean, you can't watch a movie about firefighters and not be some family thing where grandpa is a firefighter and the kid's a firefighter and the grandkid's about to be a firefighter. Everyone firefighter movie is related.
Oh, yeah.
And like we always say, when we talk to our younger officers, we're our best recruiters. When we're out there talking to the kids or talking to even adults at the coffee shop.
Sure.
If we're professional and polite and stuff, people will more often sign up for an organization when they see that than if you're not talkative.
It's good that our community still looks up to officers. There's always one in every, but we still live in a community where a police officer is sitting in a coffee shop or just whatever doing. People treat that respect and that, like you said, that awe of, hey, that's a pillar in our community, and that's so if you're interested in being a pillar, come be an RPD officer.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you. Let's talk to you, and let's start the ball rolling. Because and again, this isn't a job. This is a lifestyle. It's a career. Every single police officer I know, when they're off duty, they're still police officers. You know what I mean? That's just the life. If you, and so be prepared for that. But at the same time, if you want to be that person that people like, people talk to, people, and that, by the way, it's a brother and sisterhood. Police officers, as a person who's been in the military, I understand that the people that you work with at a police department, it's different than any other coworkers at any other establishment. These are literally people that are in the trench with you. And so it's more of a family mindset. And with that is the good and bad. They love hard and fight hard. Don't get me wrong. I bet there's some officers that, it's just when you're that close, things happen. But at the end of the day, that breeds a common bond that, those people go to war with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. And they do it on a daily basis. And unless you've been involved with that or been a part of something like that, it's hard to explain it. And so if you crave that belonging, a career as a law enforcement officer will offer that very much because of the nature of the work you guys do, everybody's watching, everybody's sick. And, when you see someone's, because I'm going to take a stab, every single officer at one point or another, it's a wall. It's a moment of, this is a lot to handle, this is a lot, and that's when your brothers and sisters rally around you and help you navigate through that. And that's what this career is.
Oh, yeah.
It's very much of that. So that being said, if you want that sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, RPD can offer that too. So.
Oh, yeah.
But have the server's heart, because that's the end. Good.
That is, yeah.
Yeah. If folks are interested, just come on down to the police station here, or go. You can always go to the city's website to start the application process, roswell-nm.gov. But what? Obviously,
it's an online application.
Yeah.
You can do that, or you can call the recruitment office, which is the same number as the police department.
Okay.
And then talk to one of the recruiters and maybe get the ball rolling that way as well.
And don't hesitate. You're having lunch or something, see an RPD sitting there, talk to them, ask them, what's the day-to-day like on this thing? I'm interested. And I'm guarantee almost every single officer would love to. Now, if they're in the middle of doing their job, let them go. But if they're just, standing there, monitoring or maybe having a cup of coffee, they wouldn't mind you asking.
Yeah, Officer Kidd is our recruiting officer, and she does an excellent job. So they can
You probably see her out and about.
her.
She's all over the place. So
Yeah.
much like many of the other officers.
Yeah, so she'd be happy to meet with anybody and tell them, what the job entails and the training entails and stuff, and help them out with the process.
It's like anything else in life. You're gonna get out of it what you put into.
Oh, yes.
And that's and if you put in your whole heart and soul into law enforcement, you're probably gonna have a very rewarding career in law enforcement. And whatever you take it, you could be sitting here with the 4 stars or the 3 stars on your collar here in not a couple of years, but 10, 15 years. Gentlemen, is there anything we missed that you guys wanted to cover that we just got sidebarred on or anything like that?
No, I think we've covered a lot of it. I just can't say how proud I am of the men and women at the police department. And everybody talks about the police officers out on the street, but it's a great team effort. The people behind the scenes, our admin assistants, our dispatchers.
Yeah, those people are godsends, every single one of them.
Our TSU, our technical services, which process the crime scenes, they're civilians, and without them, we'd be way behind the curve.
It'd be really long.
Oh, yeah.
They do an excellent job.
The property custodians,
it's a great team effort at our department, and super proud of everybody over there because we've done a great job. When I took this position 2 years ago, didn't know what to expect. I'd worked with Roswell Police Department some from where I came with, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
They were far ahead of a lot of the agencies, even somewhat the agency I came from.
Nice.
So the training aspect of it, they do an excellent job. So I think it would not be good to go through it without thanking all those people that work for us, even on the
Well,
behind the
there's
scenes.
not a single patrol officer that can do their job without that support system behind. None of it. It's all a team. It's all equal parts. And that's, like we talked about dispatching earlier and stuff. Those folks, they can really make or break, how a scene goes down, and they do an excellent job of making sure it goes the right way every single time. So.
No, and I think when you get to my level and Deputy Chief Aldana's level, we probably have the easiest job per se. They do all the work. They're the ones that go out every day dealing with the calls, having to compile all the reports, doing all that stuff. So they're ones that keep this machine running.
I also look at it, yes, they handle the day to day, but you guys are sealing it for the next generation. Like 20 years from now, when these officers are sitting there, the impacts you guys are doing right now is what they're going to see. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like the technology, the innovations, the training, the things that we're bringing in now, you're setting the table that like your guys' mark will be on those recruits going through now, and they're going to be sitting in your chairs here 15 years down the road.
It's an even split. We have to deal with the politicians.
Sure.
So that's
true.
That's
I was about to say, you got to
yeah.
deal with the part that no one likes in law enforcement, all the paperwork, the red tape, the unsexy part of you ain't seeing no Law and Order SVU with a couple of chiefs just sitting there doing paperwork for an hour.
yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you, and tell every single person there at RPD that we are so thankful for what they do, and stay safe. And we just pray and just so glad that those guys are there watching our back while we're sleeping at night and going about our lives. These folks are the reason we can do it. And we're appreciative of it.
Thank you for having us.
Sir.
All right, 9:57. Let's do this. Let's do news and a quick break before they kick me off the radio. Don't go away.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free and will even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
And good morning. It is 7:26, and joining us in studio this morning, of course, we do have City Councilor representing Ward 2, Juliana Halverson.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
Great.
Got your green boat. That's almost Dr. Seuss-esque.
Well,
I feel like
have
you
a
need a
whole
hat.
outfit, but
Okay.
I didn't want to wear the whole thing. I just wore the
that
green
needs a
bow
top
tie.
hat.
Yeah. I had a hat, but I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to wear the hat. It'll blow away today.
That's true. Yeah, you got to get a chin strap for it today here. But also joining us in studio this morning is Chantel Moreau. Did I get that right?
Mayro.
Mayro. Oh, she just said it.
Just think of May.
Of course, she's an animal services director here and also the kennel director, is that, or kennel coordinator, I think is the official title as well. Shayla McKelvey as well. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us in this morning. Bright in unison and everything. Yeah.
And I'm on vacation.
That's true.
Wake up early.
Well, you know what? Well, for you guys, you come in here and it's like, it's quiet. 'Cause I know animal services, nothing quiet about that building.
Not the back half where my office is.
So you're just like, shh, hear that? What's that? Nothing. Love it. But as folks know, this is something that, we as a city, we as a community have been talking about years, that Roswell, New Mexico has got a major pet overpopulation issue to the point where we're spreading it to other parts of the state and everything else here. And so city council and we're really trying to crack down on responsible pet ownership here. They started, a couple years ago. They enacted
Well,
the
we're
ordinance.
not cracking down on responsible. We're cracking down on irresponsible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're trying to encourage people to be responsible pet owners.
Exactly.
That's
Yes.
the term.
Yeah.
But of course, over the years here, we've added some. Over the last several years, we've added the chipping ordinance and some of these other things to get pets back to their owners and things like that. Well, City Council here back in December also, I guess, passed a new pet ordinance that's kind of dealing with some of how you house your pets and things like that. Things that were previously allowed in the city of Roswell are no longer going to be allowed in the city of Roswell, like chaining up your dog in the backyard. And we've had a grace period for this first quarter of the year. But here, I guess, is April 1 when it all takes over? What's the official date? That
April 11th, I
11th.
believe.
So we got about 2 and a half weeks
Mid-April,
left.
yeah.
So, but we're trying to remind people now, look, come April 11th here, code enforcement, they will be looking. They're going to be going to neighborhoods. They're going to be making sure you're in compliance. And if you're not, then they're going to start the process.
Animal control.
Yeah. And what would I say?
Code enforcement.
Sorry.
They help.
They'll be
Yeah.
they'll be out there too.
Sorry.
Yeah.
City folks will be guys in Roswell pickups and stuff will be going around town and making sure that your pets aren't chained up and they're not being left out and all the.
They have proper shelter.
There's proper shelter. There's proper
Care,
access to water. All the things that living
Basic
things need
care.
to live. Yeah.
Well, they see it every day, these ladies, and it's just amazing how many. And Abby Hess too. She's a good resource, but
Sure.
I don't know. You guys know the amount of animals that people just don't take proper care of. It's devastating.
It is sad what what
We
you
get
guys
calls
see on a
every
daily
day.
basis.
Yeah.
And I know you guys have the most thankless job in all of Roswell, and I understand that because all you're doing is trying to rescue and save and allow as many pets to get to homes and live happy lives as possible. Unfortunately, because of the nature of the work, most people aren't, they're dumping animals here, letting them, all the things that happen, people, let's get Sparky a dog for her birthday, and Sparky don't take care of the dog, and I know I can name the kid the same as the dog name, but y'all just work with me here. You know what I mean? Like that, or like, grandma needs a kitten. Well, grandma can't take care of a kitten. And so the kitten goes out. Now we have feral cats, and we've had these things, and so we need to be. The city can enact all the ordinances in the world. We can have 37 animal services and 57 humane societies and all this other stuff. If people don't be responsible pet owners, all of this goes out the window. If you're not chipping your pets, if you're not getting them vaccinated, we're going to shift into talking about, distemper and parvo and some of these things that are particularly dogs on some of these, but afflict animals. And
that are preventable.
Yes, they're easily preventable. And unfortunately, we live in a climate that's the desert. And, things that are supposed to die when it gets cold don't die here. Things that are supposed to die when it gets hot don't. So these things that were where typically other parts of the country have a season for it, we don't, because it doesn't go dormant. It just for a minute, or it mutates. The distemper and some of the things you're seeing now is probably not the same strains that we were seeing a couple years ago and stuff. So I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just trying to get people perspective what you guys are dealing with right
you're
now.
fine.
Yeah, this is stuff that this isn't about we want to make sure you're giving we're not trying to micromanage people on. It's just saying, look, owning a pet's like owning a child, and if you're not willing to put in that time and energy and amount of dedication to it, then maybe you shouldn't adopt a pet. That's all we're saying.
And whenever people come to adopt a pet from us, it's the microchip, rabies vaccination, spay and neuter.
Yeah.
And it's the normal stuff that you would need for the just basic care of your animal.
This is stuff you should be doing anyway.
Exactly.
You shouldn't need an ordinance to tell you to do it. If you have a baby, you're going to take the baby to the doctor and do baby.
And
Same thing.
Yeah, and if we pick up your animal, all you have to do is just pay the $40 reclaim fee because your animal has all the basic care it already needed.
Exactly.
So.
And this is kind of now, obviously, the rules, because I know for folks that don't know, you should go if you don't know. On East McGaffey, Animal Services and the Humane Society are right next to each other. Both places are rescue shelters. I always tell people.
Well, we're not a shelter.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A place where animals can be adopted. Maybe
Yes. Yeah.
But you can go to either one of these places and you're rescuing a pet. So I always tell people, walk into Animal Services. If there's no animals that gravitate to you, walk right next door to the Humane Society, or vice versa, whichever one you started in. Go hit them both, because either way, you guys are finding a home for a pet, rescuing a pet. And I'm telling you right now, obviously you guys are limited on what you can do, and government services at some point, if it's too crowded, you guys are forced to euthanize and stuff. Obviously, Humane Society and they don't do that. They're nonprofit. But what happens a lot of times is if you open up cages over there because you adopt pets, they'll come visit you guys and, who's on the short list? Let's adopt them over here. Mm-hmm. And so you guys partner and work well because everybody in your building wants to make sure these pets have homes too. That's the part we need to all understand.
Right.
We're all on the same page here. Now, I'm telling you, you ladies have not got into animal services because you hate animals. And I think people think that.
No,
you know what I mean?
They think that.
It's like, no, I love it. When I get home, I'm rolling around on the floor with my dog. We do this because it's so sad that what, it's abuse. What you guys see on a daily basis is abuse. And if it was kids, there would be people in jail left and right. That's what we're saying here is it's time to treat your pets as a part of your family. If you're not willing to do that, maybe you should find another alternative to seek that, whatever you're trying to get there. You know what I mean? And with these new ordinance changes, we're going to enforce this. We're going to make people take care of these pets. Either you take care of them or you don't have them. We're not going to let you continue to let's face it, put these pets in torture situations because, and I'm going to get a little mean here, what if I put a collar on your neck, put you in minimal clothing, and change you to the backyard and said, hang out here tonight, see how you do?
Yeah.
Pretty sure you're not going to like it.
Well, not only that, these ladies see it, and Chantel maybe will go, or Shaylin may go in more detail, but they call people, say, we have your dog, but it's not fixed, so they know they're going to get fined for that, or they have to get it fixed.
So they're like, I'm cutting and running, and
Yeah.
then just leave the dog because they're afraid they're going to get hit with more fines and all of this.
Well, they just don't want to get their dog fixed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the point. If you're having money issues and all, they'll work with you on stuff. They'll talk to you. It's like, they'll put you in touch with people to get vouchers
Yeah,
and
definitely.
things. There's a lot of resources. If money's the problem, there's issue. If your intent is to be a loving parent for these pets, we're going to help you do that. Anything but that, then no, we'll take the pet back and here's a robotic puppy or something online you can play with.
And that's if the 98% of the animals that we have in the facility never come back to an owner. So that's
It's
if we're
really
able
a small
to get owner
percentage.
information.
No, it's a large, 98% don't.
Oh,
come back.
don't come. But I'm
Oh,
saying
yeah.
it's a small percentage of people that are doing the wrong thing. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
Most of us do well, but the small enough percentage make a big enough impact that it creates a problem.
Yes.
And that's what we're dealing with. I get it. Most people, I get it. I've seen your stickers on your cars. I've seen y'all people pretty much treat your animals like kids, and that's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. We're talking to the folks that I get it, and I get it too. This is country life, and there's certain mindsets and people, and what cats do and what dogs do. They work on farms and ranches, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But when you live in the city and ain't working on a farm and ranch, you can't teach your animal like a farm and ranch.
Yeah.
It's just not how it works.
Well, and without the microchipping, Chantel or Shailene maybe will tell you more about. But their goal isn't to bring your dog into the facility. They want to
Return
get
it
it back
home.
home.
It's to get it back to you when it comes to the facility or turns
No,
up someplace.
the officers scan them in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So before they even hit the facility.
Yeah, and this is what I always tell. Obviously, you have to get your pet ordinance. And this is, and even if you live in the county, if you adopt a pet from a city-owned facility or a facility within the city limits, you are bound by city ordinance. So you will have to get your pet chipped and everything, even if you don't live in the city.
Yeah.
If you're adopting it from Animal Services or for that matter, a Humane Society, you will be getting that chip. That's it.
Register the microchip.
Yeah, and it's real easy because
Yes.
what they'll do is you just when you there's Fluffy. That's our future.
Especially with the wind, it's knocking fences down left and right.
Yeah, and so they'll take them right and say, okay, all right, Fluffy needs to be spayed or neutered and needs to be chipped. We'll send her right to the vet of your choosing. Which vet do you want to have that done at? And you can pick your vet. And if you don't have one, ask. They'll recommend a vet and take to the vet. And then you go pick your pet up there after it's had its surgery and gotten everything. And to be honest, this is something, and I don't care where you adopt a pet from. If you adopt a pet, first thing you should do is have it checked out. Take it to I know, obviously, you guys and Animal Humane Society, you guys do everything to take care of pets. But you got to know history. Take your pet in. Maybe they can tell you, that your vet will tell you, okay, yeah, it's a puppy, but I think it's a little bit more older than what they thought it was because these are shelters. We don't have. Guess what? Strays don't come with papers.
Yes.
They don't come with an info sheet saying they're 4 years old and his name is Fluffy. And
Well, and I picked up those strays at the bank the other day, and when the lady came to pick them up, I go, your dogs aren't fixed. They're not microchipped. Well, they're in my yard. I'm like, well, obviously they're not.
Until they're not.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if they're in your yard or not. That's still even if they're in your house all the time, it's still required.
Absolutely. And here's I would even go. Obviously, you get your pet chipped because that's the ordinance. I would still
And
go
register the microchip. That's a big
Yes.
problem.
Yeah, and then update it as you move, as you go. Update. It takes 5 minutes to do. That way, it's accurate information if your pet gets. But I would also go old school with the collar and the go to Petco or whatever and get the tag with your license, with your phone number, or address, or whatever, because your neighbors probably don't have a scanner.
And when they adopt from us or reclaim, we have a machine that makes that for them too for free.
Yeah. So that way you got a physical.
Yeah.
So if your neighbors don't, Bobby got a new cat. It's Fluffy. Call Bob. Go pick
Yeah.
up cat. Yeah. So I would do both here, and even if your cat's an indoor, because that's how it's supposed to be. Now, when we adopt cats, those aren't supposed to be hanging out in the alleys and stuff. You're supposed to keep them indoors and keep them as indoor cats, and just because they're indoor cats doesn't mean you need to slip on the shots, rabies, the vaccinations, because guess what? You track things into your house, and sometimes even though your cat doesn't come across other animals, you walk into places or walk into things, and then you come in and then you walk into your house. And I know your house isn't dirty, and most of us, but you can easily track in things that your cat can get sick off of just because I'm sure you ladies have to decontaminate when you get home just to keep your pets, personal pets, from coming across some of the things that you guys are exposed to in the shelter here. So that's kind of what we're talking. This is kind of the thing we're talking about, and this is kind of where I want to touch a little bit about. You guys are having. I say you guys. Everybody in New Mexico is having a real problem with distemper. Right now it's distemper, right? I get the parvos and all
Yes.
that. To me, it's all bad. And if I hear any of them, like, none of it's good. You got to do a lot to do it. But right now it's distemper that we're dealing with. And so now are you guys kind of holding off on allowing new animals to come in right now, or is that all good? Because I know that there is rules that come in place when you're dealing with some of this.
Our officers are on priority call only
Okay.
right now. So that's, sick, injured,
Aggressive.
aggressive.
Animals that are a threat or a problem or something needs to be done immediately to help
Yes.
or remove them from a situation.
We have a different facility that the new intakes go to, and they're spread apart,
Okay.
not near each other.
Quarantined out, doing all
Yes.
the things you got to do.
And then nothing new is coming into Roswell Animal Services.
Okay. And I know folks similarly, the Humane Society next door was dealing with some of that stuff weeks before. I think they're back to letting folks in.
Yeah,
I'm
they
not-
were only shut down for 15 days.
Gotcha. Which and it's one of those deals. If I remember, she was talking. How it works is when they get like one case, that puts 2 weeks on the clock, and then if no new cases come up, then we're good. But if another
Right.
case pops up, that resets that 2 week clock. So I'm guessing
That would be the same for us. If
so
we ran
they
into
kind of
that.
got lucky
Yeah.
and it only went 2 weeks.
Well, because what I've learned from the vets is it takes 10 days to show symptoms, but apparently this version of distemper that's going around is taking 15 to 20 days.
And this is something that I know we've talked with Crystal and you guys are dealing with. This is because we live where we live, the desert and everything else, distemper doesn't have, it's pretty much 24/7. Like, and what I mean, 12 months a year. It's not, like, generally speaking, weather, climates, and things, it'll make it where distemper's gone dormant, and it's not. But because our weather is relatively mild, we don't have, we have extreme winds, but we don't get Arctic. We don't get, you know what I mean? We don't, and so there's really no enemy to the distemper.
The
as
winds
far
probably
as-
make it worse because it's airborne.
yeah, there's nothing to curtail it as far as the weather-wise here. So that means it's constantly going, it's constantly active, which means pets are getting exposed easily. And, that's why you've got to get your vet, take your pets to the vets, get them shots, get everything up to date. Even if your cat does not see the outdoors, bring it to the vet to make sure it's updated on those shots. Make sure they're chipped, even if they never leave the house, because one time they will. That's the whole
And
point.
the problem these ladies deal with is when they pick up an animal, they don't know if it's infected. And you guys want to talk about your procedures when people?
Yeah, you guys are flying blind. You just see an animal and you don't know, it could be the healthiest thing. It could be.
Well, we get animals from over the counter. People bring them in. We get them from county, and we get them from the city. So all over Roswell.
And you guys really have to take them.
Yes,
Because you're
we
the
do.
last line of defense. So there's no one
Yeah,
else
we
to
don't- we
pass
don't-
the buck to, so to speak.
We don't get
We're
to
it.
look at the public and be like, no, we're not going to take these animals. We have to take these animals. We are not a shelter. We are
I know,
public
I
safety.
keep saying that. I keep
I
confusing.
still catch myself.
That's okay. But we are public safety. And like if you run across a dog on the street, you don't know if you're going to get bit. When we're not shut down, our officers have to pick them up, and we don't know where these dogs are coming from. But we do our best to quarantine the dogs in our quarantine area,
Vaccinate.
and vaccinate upon intake.
Oh yeah, they get
Bordetella, distemper,
they
and
get the full
parvo.
workups when they do come into animal
Except for
services.
Tick.
rabies. They can't do the rabies.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go adopt the pet to your vet, guess what they're getting? That
Yeah.
rabies shot, right? As soon as they get
They
chipped
have
and
to,
everything else,
yeah.
the rabies will be. And if they're getting spayed or neutered, that'll also probably take place at that time.
Yeah. We have 11 kennels in our quarantine area, and since we are a city facility, we fill up fast because people are not watching their animals. So we try to quarantine as long as we're able to.
And this is why we, the public, have to be the active. Animal services can't do it on their own. All the volunteer groups we have put together can't do it on their own. It takes we, the public, be responsible pet owners. When you see someone at Walmart parking lot selling puppies in the back of the car, call law enforcement. Not only is that illegal, it's a safety issue. It is a health and safety issue. If you want to adopt a pet but not fully committed, if you're not willing to raise it like a child, then maybe you should not raise a pet. I'm telling you right now, everything, and even in today's world, that's why pet health insurance is a thing now, because it literally is just like your kids. You take them and they're going to get all their shots, and as life happens and as their lives change, you're going to have to do different healthcare things to them. Bigger dogs generally have hip issues. You're going to be doing a lot of that kind of stuff. Little dogs, they got all kinds of, especially if you're dealing with purebred dogs with pushed in noses and stuff, they generally are not as healthier pets than some of your mutts. If you're put it this way, if you're looking to make a pet part of your home, like a family and all that, highly recommend it. Come on down to Animal Services, but don't get hung up on I want the full standard poodle because it's a. I'm telling you, the muddier the dog, the cooler, smarter that dog is. And the more mutt it is, usually the cooler the dog it is. I'm just saying.
But we want to stress too, because the problem they're having too, and everyone is, they're not breeding, they're just not getting their dogs fixed. So they're having accidental litters like crazy.
And we can't. And everyone thinks that it's a money machine.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a purebred, whatever. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to do a litter and sell it. I'm going to sell them for $1,200 a piece or whatever fantasy they get in their head, and that never happens.
Or they expect us to take them in and
right, like they've got some valuable commodity, and I'm like, you're not.
The amount of litters of puppies we get.
yeah,
People think it's a money grab
that they found.
Yeah,
But they just don't take care of their animals, and they
Yeah.
just don't want the puppies. And
yeah,
they
and that's
just
the other
dump
thing. They're
them.
just too lazy to go take their vet fix, and then guess what? Dog or cat goes into heat, and you all know what happens when that happens. We've all seen it at one point when all the neighborhood animals are hanging out in your yard.
And
because-
sometimes it's not that they're lazy, it's that they're not financially able to get their animal fixed, which, if you're not financially able to get your animal some basic vet care, don't get an animal.
This is something, you've got to weigh that decision. It is, like I said, it's like raising a child. Okay, maybe you're not sending it to college at the end, but the amount of time and energy and money, and if you're doing it right, you're treating it like a member of the family, and you're going to spend thousands of dollars on that animal at the end of the day.
And like the Colorado Animal Welfare League, they come in and they do, I don't know what they charge hardly anything. Shauna Emmert runs it here in town, and
They're
you could
wonderful.
call them.
Yeah,
and
be on the list.
They give them shots. They give them the rabies too because they have a vet.
Yeah.
Be on the listen, because I know every time that there's like one of these spay or neuter clinics that pop up or something like that, we have tried to get the word out and take advantage of those. And I know.
And they have scholarships too. I mean, yeah.
And I know, like sometimes the Humane Society will do it. I think you guys do it too, where they do these. There's vouchers that come up for spay and neuter. Now they won't give you free ones, but they could knock a couple $100-$200 off the cost. Of
We
the
have
stay.
that program. We're reapplying for a grant that actually funded it. But if people want to donate to that, the
more the merrier, because the only way we're fixing this, folks, is we the people be good pet owners. We can enact all these ordinances. We can enact all. We could have animal services come rolling through every single street every night of the day. It's not going to fix the problem.
Because we partner. How many vets do you have on that spay neuter program? The low cost.
All of them now.
Oh, so all the
Good.
vets in town are working with
Everyone's
animals.
on
because they
page
have
here.
the same goal. They want to stop the.
Well, they all see it. Every
Yeah.
person that deals with animals in some way, shape, or form in Roswell or Chaves County knows exactly what we're talking about. And trust me, this distemper thing is serious. Treat it serious. If you do not, and if you're a pet owner right now and your pets aren't vaccinated up to date, you need to be calling your vet right now. Get an appointment to get them up to date on this stuff. If your pet's not microchipped or any of that stuff, please. They will be checking. And I'm telling you here, if your animal's chained up, that's something we haven't really said. Maybe Juliana, let's talk. What are the actual new changes to the ordinance? I know chaining up is one, but what are
So
some of the
it's
things?
tethering. We increased the fines for a lot of the items that because I don't want to make people suffer, but I want people to realize that it's cheaper to get your dog fixed than it is to pay the fine
Right,
for
you
not
want to make
having it
it
fixed.
you don't want people to suffer, but you want to
Yeah.
make it a priority in their life to get this.
And
done.
we did add before it was just the rabies vaccine that was required. But now it's requiring the rabies, distemper, and for the cats, the feline leukemia. All the
because these are issues.
Yeah.
They aren't just making this up because
Yeah.
it's fun to do. It's because animals are dying and
Yeah.
they're spreading because these outbreaks of distemper and the
and they're
kitty
dying
cancer
just
and all
because
that.
they're having litters of puppies,
Yeah.
and there's just so many,
And to be honest, folks, having your pet spayed or neutered is a healthy option for your
Mm-hmm.
pet. A lot of the cancers that cats get and some of these animals deal with all go away once they're spayed or neutered.
Well, and if you're having behavioral issues, fixes that.
Well, yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
If you're the marking of the territories, I'm not saying it gets rid of it altogether,
fights or, yeah.
but it definitely puts some of the anger out of the attitude a little bit and kind of gives them a little, I guess whatever pent up
Yeah.
anger, or whatever's going on there, it dissipates.
That's it. And it's frustrating that a lot of people just don't care.
Yeah, that's the
These
thing.
ladies and everyone, the staff over there, doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
We've walked through there with the state vet. We walked through there with several vets, and they're just the change since Chantel's been there. It's cleaner. It's just so much better now.
It is, and this is a community effort. We all got to get. I mean, I know everyone.
Yeah, I
was-
think they're happy for volunteers.
Yeah, people, if
Yeah.
you want, you know what? If you're not happy, well, we need to roll up your sleeves and come on down. Animal Services would love to have volunteers. And you know what? If they ain't got enough, walk next door. I'm sure they'd love to help you some help over
The
there.
volunteer
too.
applications are right up front.
Absolutely, and I'm sure any young folks maybe have aspirations as veterinary medicine or ranchers, for that matter. You know, might learn a thing or two by hanging out with the Animal Services.
Well, like
here.
you mentioned, their job is thankless, but everyone there, they've done amazing. They care about the animals. They actually
Yeah.
take care of them.
These are pet lovers. These
Yeah.
are pet people. These are folks that I'm going to take a stab that you spend your day just angry and upset because you walk into a situation or hear about a situation almost a daily basis. I'm going to take a stab that you're just like, what is wrong with people? Like, how can you, and what in your brain thinks this is okay? You know what I mean? And that's the sad part of this. And I understand. People look at animals differently. I get some of us are a little over the top. I get it. I'm one of those people. I'm the guy that walks in the room. I don't care if your dogs are working or not. I'm going to roll around the floor with them.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
We build bonds with the animals that come into our facility.
You absolutely
you know?
do.
Want to take some?
I'm sure your family has
Gosh.
told you no so many times. And you
My
wanted to take
poor
it.
husband.
They just got you come in the door and say, no. What this cat? No.
And Sarah with the city marketing department, she's done a great job with, billboards and stuff telling
Yeah.
people what to do. And then
Yeah.
they do a great job posting animals. Say, hey, is this your dog? It's not, you don't have to go on 24 Pet Connect all the time. They post like, oh, this
Sure.
dog was just picked up. If it's yours, come get it now.
Stay plugged into that stuff.
Yeah.
Because that.
Because they have a Facebook page that they update.
Yeah, and they constantly update, and that's and to be honest, that's the best way to, because if Animal Services comes across your pet, they will do everything within their power to let people know, hey, it's right here.
Yeah.
Come tell your friends, tell your family,
get your dog.
come get your pet. Your pet's looking for you.
Yeah.
Chantel goes above and beyond when she sees a dog that she's like, no, this animal has an owner. She'll do her best to try and get that
Sure.
dog back to the owner.
Well, and this is the kind of point I'm saying is you guys have regulations and requirements that you have to meet, and I'm sure they're very black and white. But as animal lovers yourselves, you try to take care of all the gray before it gets to the black and white, because at the end of the day, the priority here is these pets. And we would love it to the point where you walk into Animal Services or the Humane Society and say, we only got like 2 dogs. Everyone's adopting them and they're doing their thing. That would be an awesome problem to have, where we're like soliciting, hey, you sure you don't know? I don't think that'll ever happen, but that's what we're trying to do. At this point, you could build literally a animal shelter the size of like Sing Sing prison, and we would fill it right now. That's what I'm trying to say is it's not build more. It's we've got to fix the problem. We can't just keep adding more cages. That's not going to fix the problem.
No, and you're absolutely right. Everybody here, there's like 3 sections, and everybody likes to put the blame on that other section.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop putting the blame everywhere else except for on the city of Roswell.
It is
we
we,
are
the
a
public.
city that needs to come together and try to hit this issue head on.
Yep. And every time that you adopt a pet and don't, and then I get it. Some things don't work out. Sometimes it happens. Life happens. It's what you do about it afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to get that pet? You make it, you can't just turn it loose. You can't
Yeah.
just forget about it. You can't do the old school cartoon where you take them on the picnic in the country and they come. You can't do any of
Well,
that.
I want to add that we do foster to adopt. We allow them to foster it for a week to see if
Have
it's
a test
good
run.
Yeah, see if it's a fit for them.
Sure.
If not, you can bring it back. If it is, then adopt it.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Humane Society is a little more stringent on rules on, what they can adopt. And so that's why I always say if you don't find. Now, that being said, if, and I get it too. Sometimes, all right, my fence isn't good enough. That means I'm a bad pet owner. No problem. come on down. We're gonna, we get that. We're not as stringent here, but at the end of the day, we expect the same attitude on the pet ownership here. This pet will be a part of your family. You will treat it like a kid, and it will be a part. If you're having a pet just to put it out in the backyard for protection, then we don't need that. If you want protection, get an alarm.
Well, Elizabeth with the city, she's changing departments now, but she wrote a grant again to the same one that gave us the low-cost spay-neuter money.
Mm-hmm.
She's adding in like kennels for people that can't build a fence, but they can't tether their dogs, so they'll get a dog kennel that's big enough for the dogs to.
Good deal.
We're still working on that, but.
And I know too, we're starting to that not be a problem right now, but when it was colder and stuff, there's a lot of people offering free straw and things to put into these shelters for folks that can't, if they have dog houses that can't be indoors or things like that, you at least put a bunch of straw in there because that provides a lot of insulation and warmth for these.
That's where Abby's great. She sees she tries really hard to get these dogs taken care of.
Yeah, we get it. Not everybody can do the most efficient thing because life. I get that, But wait a minute, I'm not eating steak. I'm not getting the dog steak. I get that.
Yeah. But you get people too. They deal with the hoarding situations where these people they don't have the money to care for these animals,
Absolutely.
and they just keep letting them breed, and then they have to deal with that because they'll go to one house. Oh, there's 20 dogs we have to pick up today.
Well, they think that's going to be their ticket out. Like some magic person's going to come in. Oh, you've got all these dogs. I will pay you $1 million for them. I'm like, okay. No one wants it either, And so please, if you see that kind of stuff, report it. If you yourself are not in compliance with this ordinance, you got about 2 weeks to get her done. Let's do
that's
this.
just the tethering part. The rest of it's being enforced.
Yeah, you know what I mean, to get in compliance here, because we will have folks start checking and making sure that, and if you're not, they're going to start the process. It'll start with fines, but the more you ignore, the more heavy-handed we get, basically. Kind of like weeds and all them other things. At first you get a letter, and then after a while you start getting people knocking on the door.
Well, and when it's windy like this, I don't know how they are, but I'm pretty sure that if there's a dog running at large, they'll try to scan it. That's why it's important you microchip, because they want to get your dog home. They don't want to take it to the facility where it's exposed to diseases and stuff because people aren't vaccinating their dogs.
And plus, when dogs are out, dogs are like people. When they're flustered, they're going to act erratically, just like you.
So when fireworks happen, when the wind blows, the dogs are going to get out.
They might be more aggressive, and I know.
Yeah.
That dog wouldn't hurt a fly, but if you put it in a corner and it's freaked out, it's going to lash out, just like you.
But if it's microchipped and the microchip's registered, they can take it home right away.
But this is also, we know, when they see the tag hanging there and the dog's freaked out, it's like, the dog's owned by somebody. It's just scared. Let's act accordingly.
Because my dogs have gotten out and they had tags, so people call me right away.
And the tags are a good way for the public just to get these dogs home as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So please, Wes, you are required to get your your pet chipped, but as an added layer, I go old school as well too. Just put the collar with Scrappy's name and maybe your cell phone number. That's plenty enough. You don't have to put addresses and all that, but at least a phone number, a way to contact you very easily. And then of course update it. You get a new phone, maybe update the number. Go back to Petco or I think you can go down to Animal Control or Animal Services or whatever and get the tags made and do it. Go get it updated. So
I want to add to that. Vets do scan for microchips because a lot of times people
News
don't
this hour
like to
from
bring them to our facility to get
townhall.com.
scanned or anything
all
like
vets
that.
pretty much have that technology.
They can do that as well,
235
so.
suspected members of an
What is that?
ultra-violent Venezuelan gang
Can we
have
buy
been
that on
deported by the
Temu
Trump
yet?
administration.
Like the Temu chip scanner, like your home model.
Despite a federal judge's order
you know what? I
against the
forgot
deportation.
we're at 8 o'clock. We already went over time here. So we better wrap this up while I turn that off here because people get mad we're cutting into news. If anybody has any questions about anything, don't hesitate to call City Hall. Don't hesitate to call Animal Services. They'd be happy to talk to you about this. Go online to roswell-nm.gov. You can kind of see under Animal Services, you can see what the new ordinance is all about, and read up on it and everything else.
I just want to real quick add, don't just complain on Facebook. Step up and actually do something. Absolutely.
That's the thing. It's easy to take pot shots on Facebook. It's kind of fun sometimes. I get it. But you want to actually fix things, get out there and do it. So, come and help these ladies. Yeah. Did we get it all? Anything we missed you guys wanted to cover?
I just
I
want to say
don't
what a great
know.
job they're doing.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
very
you.
proud.
And thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it's
Yeah.
thankless. I know people yell at you all day, and everyone's. I get it. People get passionate. You get the extremes. You get the extreme don't care about pets, and the people that care probably more than they should.
Yeah.
And you get to deal with both of them. So I get it. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Juliana. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
It's 8:01. As you heard, I'm way over. Don't yell at me. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
And good morning. It is 25 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning from the Roswell Chamber of Commerce, Andrew Moore and Gary Thrine are back with us. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Happy middle of the week, everybody.
That's right.
It's an optimistically fantastic day.
There you go.
Happy day after April Fool's Day.
That's true. We all survived the April Fools.
Yes. So you were talking about April Fool's stuff. My kids got in the car when I picked them up from school yesterday. And I always do the, hey, how was your day? And they go, oh, well, we hate each other. This is the last time you're ever going to pick up my friends. And I'm like, you guys are full of it. And they're like, and I mean, they were good.
They kept the
they kept the gag up. They were like, no, we can't stand. And I'm like, what? I'm pretty sure you're pulling my leg, but also what
they are
is going on?
teenagers, and teenagers do teenager things.
And then when I dropped off the friends, they were like, April Fools.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah, they tried. Give them.
It was because I was almost, I was like.
They were a little. They carried it a little longer, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you would, what's the rule on April Fools? Can you carry an April Fools after, like, if you don't punch line it? Like, how long can you drag it out before you have to punch? Like, what's the rule on that?
I don't know.
Does it have to be before close of business on April Fools, or how's that work? I don't know. But anyway, we'll work on flesh out those rules on that.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the future, let's recap. Of course,
yes.
Chamber just coming off another successful Rise Over Roswell event. Last Thursday, we had the 2025 version of it.
Correct. We had Rise with Roswell. Thursday morning, 6 a.m. out at the fairgrounds. Our guest speaker was Michelle Miller, a.k.a. the Farm Babe. Yeah. And I highly, highly recommend everybody go check out her social media. She's everywhere. Facebook and Instagram is where I see her the most because that's where the chamber is the most.
She's probably got a YouTube channel and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So she was all over Roswell for a couple of days before and after our event. So she's got all kinds of wonderful videos and things where she went and checked out Roswell because we are pretty cool. Quite contrary to popular belief, everybody. Roswell's pretty cool.
We are known by pretty much we're the smallest town that's probably most known in all corners of the globe.
And she just absolutely loved it. And then we had approximately 200 people at the very last minute on Wednesday when we were setting everything up. Gary goes, I think we need to put one more table. And I go, no, I've done the math. Look, this is how many people we've got. We're going to be fine. He goes, Andrea, put up another table.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
And so we did. And had we not set up that last table, we would have literally had people eating standing up. So good job, Gary. For
forecaster of the future.
That's right.
Better to have an extra table empty than 8 people standing up eating.
So
that's right.
we
as long
had
as they're eating, I think they're fine.
Every single person showed up that said that they were going to show up on Thursday. It was awesome.
Well,
It was a fantastic event.
Had a full house and great guest speaker.
Yes.
Awesome food.
And of course, as always, Golden Corral does their thing on the
we had great sponsors, of course. Dairy Producers of New Mexico every year is our go-to to help us find the speaker. So thank you, Kay Whitefoot and Dairy Producers and all of our sponsors. We had both Crumlin Auto Group, Richland. We had both hospitals, Eastern New Mexico Medical Center, Loveless, Eastern New Mexico University Roswell campus, Wade Irrigation, John Jackson. I always call him Jack Johnson, and everybody looks at me and I'm like, I mean John Jackson. I'm like, I know it's one of those.
I'm gonna just put random common J names together. Right. Jones, Jerry,
and Kay Whitefoot always looks at me. Larry Marshall. Thank you so much. Roswell Livestock Auction, Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply, Tabosa. So thank you, everybody that has been sponsors. Pioneer Bank was a sponsor.
Yeah.
And without all of our sponsors, then it would not happen.
Absolutely.
So thank you, everybody.
Well,
First American Bank was one of our sponsors. So once again, without the sponsors, the event doesn't happen.
Yeah, we appreciate them. And, of course, those names you hear all the time serving
Yes,
not just
XL Energy.
this, but a lot of non-profit charity events around town. Those are a lot of same names you hear.
Absolutely.
Supporting those great causes, too. So, yeah, we have a great nucleus of people in our community. And
so we appreciate everybody. And then the following morning, we had Leadership Roswell. It was their second to last class. One more class, and this year's class graduates.
Are they like elementary school kids where they get a little antsy and stuff at the latter classes? As they're getting, you know how?
Right? Yeah.
There start to be behavioral problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Settle down or you won't get your snack.
That's right. You're not going to graduate, guys, if you don't calm down.
Actually, Rick holds potty breaks over them. No potty break for you.
That's right. That's right. You know that 3 minutes we were going to allow you? Yeah, well, that's done. We're done.
I'm kidding.
He does. He runs a tight ship.
He does run a tight ship. That's not
he
a
knows
joke.
exactly what's
But
going on.
You can go to the bathroom whenever you need to.
Well,
within reason.
Yes. So those two things happened Wednesday and Thursday, or Thursday and Friday. So of course, by Saturday, I was one tired mama, and I just told my family, I'm like, I'm done.
I am disappearing from society for the rest of the afternoon. So.
And we had also a ribbon cutting on Friday as well.
So not too much rest because you're back at it the next day.
So I'm doing the stuff with Leadership Roswell, and this is why we love Gary, because I cannot be everywhere at one time.
Yeah.
So Gary went to our ribbon cutting, and it was the homeless transition home.
Oh yeah, this is awesome.
At 405 South Kentucky.
Yeah, the first of many, hopefully.
And we had to do the ribbon cutting on Friday because people were moving in on Saturday.
Wow, so it was like, although if they timed it right, I'm like, while y'all here, grab a box.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so Genevieve, and I love Genevieve. She is one of my favorite people in this town. She came in, I think it was Tuesday? No, it was Wednesday as we were getting ready to go out to the fairgrounds. Mm-hmm. And she came blowing and she goes, I need you guys. And we're like, okay, yeah, we're here to help. That's what we do. And she goes, we're having a ribbon cutting on Friday. And both Gary and I look at each other and she goes, I know, it's only a couple of days, but I just found out. She goes, I literally came to you first. And we're like, we're on it.
Yeah.
And then
cool.
Gary got
and we had a good red coat turnout as well. So
in 2 days, we got everybody out there.
It's a great program, and
yes.
And hopefully get more and more of these homes as these different
this
projects
is like the first of I think she said 12.
Good.
Yeah.
Well,
15.
I'm hoping it goes on to 20, 30, and as many as needed for this. But it's a good program.
And we need people like Genevieve in our community because she's got that passion and that heart to continue to do all of these things, and to talk to her offline and see what she's doing behind the scenes is just amazing.
Yeah. Yep. We have these certain groups of people just no matter what, they're always involved, and again, another evidence of that right here.
Exactly.
Stuff, so.
And then what else do we have going on, Gary?
Well, we had a new member join last night. Came across. I got the alert on my phone, and I was like, oh, cool. It's our new cannabis company out at the Nomads out next to Hot Works across the street from Antigua and Roadhouse. Mm-hmm. And and then Tobias called me and he's like, okay, I want to do this. And so how do I do it? And I talked him through the application process, and he got it all squared away. Nice. So they're on the 1st of April and one member. So
there you go.
Anybody out there thinking about joining the chamber, give me a call or get online on our website. And anybody out there that you work for a company that is a member and want to be a red coat, give me a holler and I'll square you away with an application. But we also have a lunch and learn coming up on the 22nd of April.
Okay.
It's West and SBA. Is that correct?
So West and the chamber are partnering together to do a lunch and learn. There is a new director for the SBA, and it's Kelly Loeffler, and she has a passion for rural communities and manufacturing. Well, that's what we have.
I'm about to say, welcome to Roswell.
Right? So Rhonda and I have been talking, and we're going to do a lunch and learn. It's the 22nd of April. We will start serving lunch at 11:30.
Nice.
We will be done by 1, so everybody can be back in their office. And we're going to have it at the Bondurant room at the library.
Very good.
And if you are a part of manufacturing, you need to be a part of this Lunch and Learn.
Absolutely.
And that is anything from, our wonderful partners out at the base, Built-Wise, all the way down to, Grandma Moses that is making tamales or your cousin that's making candles in their
Absolutely.
garage, because
Sure.
that's all manufacturing.
Absolutely.
So we want everybody. If you live in Roswell, Lake Arthur, Dexter, Hagerman, if you live in Chaves County, you need to come. And hopefully we get more than 75 people, and then we have to go find a bigger room.
There you go.
To go.
Hobson Hall.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, that's what we would love to do, because there's a lot of information. Both West and SBA do so much more than just provide
Absolutely.
funding.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is one of the mechanisms that they do, is help provide funding or
Sure.
find you funding if you're starting a business or growing your business. But there's so many more resources out
Absolutely.
there.
They turn over all kinds of rocks for people. It's,
Yes.
West, they kind of do that, educate. They kind of have a specific focus for women and things like that. But it's really the same. They kind of do the same things in different ways. But so that's definitely a great Lunch and Learn to lock in if you're a business owner, perhaps a potential business owner. Like if you're looking to want to get into start your own business and things like that, this is a Lunch and Learn you probably want to sit down and take notes in.
Yes,
because,
please.
Whether you can use the information right now or in the future here, it's going to be good information.
And it'll be $10 a person, because we do have to cover the cost
of lunch
of feeding everybody.
Yeah.
But that's the only cost, is just to be able to pay for the food. But everybody's welcome. Please come.
Maybe you've always had some kind of weird fantasy to eat food in a library since they never let you.
Right?
Come to the Bonder room and let you eat in the library.
Then you can say I ate and drank at the...
I had a sandwich in the library. I'm that gangsta.
That's right.
And speaking of library, let's move right on into our future ribbon cutting. So far, we have one scheduled for April, and that is on the 16th of April at 1 p.m., located at 223 North Main, and that's the Roswell Fine Arts League. So come out and
cool.
celebrate their ribbon cutting.
That's a great place.
Yes.
Hopefully, it won't be a raining day.
Well, that one you could do indoors if need be, because there's most of the actions on the inside anyway.
Correct.
But I'm going to say, well, it's April showers, but our showers
Right.
are weird. I don't know. It's a hit or miss with us. I think your rain's probably going to be good, but wind can make no promises on
Yes.
that one.
And anybody else out there, if you're a member of the chamber and you've never had a ribbon cutting, call me.
Absolutely.
Or come see me, and let's get a ribbon cutting set up for you.
Or even if you had, but it's been a while.
And
You're
That's right.
thinking, or you got to, and you don't need to be new to have a ribbon cutting. We can say,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love anniversary ribbon
Yeah.
cuttings, and it doesn't have to be the 3, 5, 10 year. It can be the 4.5 year or
That's
the
right.
7 year.
That would be kind of
the
ironically
13th
funny
year.
if you do that.
Well,
we
that's
don't
what
celebrate
Terry
all the
does.
stuff. Yeah.
Terry's business after hours at Hippie Chicks, for example, she does her big business after hours every year in December, and she's just celebrating another year.
Absolutely.
So it is her anniversary, and so she's like, "Come to the 21st annual.
I almost look at
come
hers
to the
as like
12th
a
annual."
year-end party more
Yeah.
than a ribbon cutting kind
And
of
she
thing.
does and that's another thing. Business after hours is a great way to showcase your business.
Absolutely.
And you come in, you can give tours if you want to, because we've had many places that we've gone, like the hospitals, the different car dealerships, the different members. They will give you a tour, but you don't have to give a tour.
It's unique to your
But
business.
it's a way to showcase who you are, what you do, and then of course it's a networking opportunity for the rest of the community to come in and see each other. So business after hours, we love to do those. And it's only 2 hours. Gary and I are very good about making sure we are done on time, because we know that you probably don't want us camping out on your couch until midnight, and we don't want to camp out on your couch till midnight.
Yep. Come in and have do your mingling, do your eating, do your interviewing, and then send you on your way.
That's right.
And for those merchants that are members of the chamber or thinking about becoming members of the chamber, and you're a home-based business, obviously you don't want everybody coming to your house to do the business after hours.
Although we will if you want us to.
So,
Yes.
so we can do it at the chamber.
Sure.
And we can clear the tables
That's
out
right.
and to the side, so that way everybody has a place
We have
to
a
eat.
physical and virtual version.
Bring some munchies, do some door prizes. The red coats will be door greeters for you, and we can just do it right there at the chamber. That way, you still have the opportunity of having either a ribbon cutting or a business after hours.
Sure.
For
But if
your
you don't
business.
Yeah.
if your business is a virtual presence, well, we can make a virtual ribbon cutting.
And those have been those have actually been some of the most fun is at the chamber in the boardroom with these home-based
Sure.
businesses, because talk about an opportunity to really be able to get to know your neighbors that are doing things that you had no. I mean, some of the coolest things I've gotten have been from these home-based businesses that they don't have a storefront, but they're doing something out of their garage, or the tamales or the salsas and stuff that people would be amazed if they would just take, a couple extra seconds and see
Absolutely.
what's Nana doing next door.
Right? And thanks to Allison's Flooring for being our sponsor, we have a new floor
it's very nice. You
in the
haven't been in there.
boardroom, and
Check it
it
out.
is actually, the carpet is gone, and now we have the laminate floor, and it turned out awesome.
We do have a couple throw rugs for sounding
Right, because
purposes.
it does echo all the way out in the hallway if those carpets aren't in there.
Yeah,
But,
because we've pulled those a couple of times, and all of this, it makes all the difference.
It does. It does. When you got like whatever those walls are made out of,
Concrete.
Yeah,
it just
and then the
bounces.
floor. Yeah, it's just an echo chamber in there. So-
Absolutely.
But big thank you to Allison's for that. They do great work on. And to be honest, just throwing a quick plug, if they do way more than just floors too. They can they can build your kitchens, the bathrooms. They could probably build you a house if you asked them to.
Exactly. And the last thing I want to bring up, I don't want to steal Andrea's steam there, but Lunar Cow has partnered with the chamber to update our Roswell City map. And not only is there going to be a hard copy, but there's also going to be a digital copy. So once the spaces all run out on the hard copy, then you will still be able to get a digital copy, and that will be able to be refreshed and updated on a regular basis. But so
monthly if you wanted to, and it's no charge.
Right, and if anybody from Lunar Cow calls you or emails you, they are legitimate. They are partnered with the chamber, and all of you new members that have just joined in the last year, I would really love to see you guys be on the map. Both the hard copy and then, of course, you have the digital copy. And then once those digital or those hard copy spots sell out, like I said, you still have the opportunity of having a portion of the digital map.
Yeah.
So
which really is the...
And with the air shows coming, we have May where everybody has to come in and qualify. And it's 100% of the pilots will be here in May because it's a brand new course.
Yep.
And then in September, we've got the air show as well as the air race. So we're going to have a huge influx, and there's a lot of old school people that like to have a paper map, but that's also the digital map. So when they come in and they ask for different information, we'll be able to pull up the digital map and give an itinerary and plan their stay on that digital map. So please make sure that you are getting on there.
It's a very economical way to get your name in front of a bunch of people that are new to town, tourists, people that don't know. If you're relying just on local traffic for your business, which your day-to-day is going to be most of that, and you build your reputation there. But if you're trying to make the most of UFO festivals and Reno air races and these events like this, chili cheese festivals, using a presence like Lunar Cow is a very economical way to get your word out cheaply and quickly to a very targeted and large audience, targeted to what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
And that's worth a conversation with Lunar Cow. You can listen to all that and say, nah, it's too much for me, but at least hear the conversation.
That's
at
right.
At least hear what they can offer you, and it's various levels. I'm sure. I don't know all the details, but I'm sure it's like anything else. The more money you invest, the more things
the
you
bigger
get.
your spot. And once again, like Gary was saying, there are limited spots on the map. So on
the piece of paper is only so
on
big.
the paper map, but every single person that wants can be on the digital map, and
and then
that's
really
going to be
and that's
huge.
how people.
It really is.
The paper maps are great and they still used, but it's going the way of the dodo.
Yes.
10, 15 more years, those won't.
It's
they'll
like
be
the
in
phone
museums.
books.
Yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
in museums.
Yeah,
They're
there's not going to be after this year. There's not going to be any more hard copy.
So the way
Yeah.
the future is going to be the digital. Everything's going to be your phone or whatever
Yeah,
the next
names
wave of
and numbers
technology
came
is.
to us this year, and their next printing, which I think is the 26, 27. Is it
no,
25,
26.
25, 26 is the last hard copy that Names and Numbers is going to be doing for the phone book. Everything's going to be online now.
Yeah.
Because everything right now, I mean, you can reverse look up any phone number now.
How are short kids going to sit at the table properly with no fat phone books to
right?
sit on?
Well, they're not that thick anymore
I know.
either.
Well, where I grew up, they are.
Right.
Like,
Ditto.
You used to get two of them, actually. You
Yes.
get two, and they were both about 4 inches
A
thick.
through L and M through Z.
Yeah, we had the big one. Now, that was the DC one. And then we got like we got like 6 phone books. We got the yellow pages, which were a couple things. Then we got the volumes of white pages. And then I got one for just like my county, which was more the thinner, put it under your arm, go to the can to read kind of size. Who's ever reading phone books on the can? But anyway.
Well, back in the day when we didn't have phones.
This is true, Thank God for Uncle John bathroom readers. That's all.
Or it was this, if it was, if you
You
were
can only
really
go-
hard pressed, you're like, I guess I'm reading the shampoo.
That's right. Let's see what dial soap we got in it today. But yeah. So those phone books. But yeah, it's all
Yeah.
going digital. So
It
if
is.
you want to kind of stay relevant with your business and technology, doing it really on the cheap, very affordable.
Or if you're interested in being a part of Lunar Cow on the map and you either can't find the email or can't remember, call either Gary or I, and we'll get
We'll
you
put you
in touch with them as
We'll
well.
make it. We'll
And
set
that
up a
phone number
sit-down.
is
575-623-5695. And we are located at 131 West 2nd. You can't miss us because we're on the corner of Richardson and 2nd. We have the huge alien mural and all the alien stuff on our windows.
Right.
and the website.
We are Roswell, ROSWELLNM, NewMexico.org.
Absolutely. Hey, and by the way, if you're looking for something to read, there is a little readers, the library, Lending Library, sitting
Yeah.
right there in the corner of the chamber building, and there's always books in there.
Oh, yeah.
every time. So take a book, leave a book. If you just
I
want a
haven't
book.
had to fill it for a while. For a while, I was going on the 5s because
Yeah.
if it's the 5s at the Friends of the Library bookstore,
Yeah.
you can get a sack
Uh-huh.
of books for $5.
Yeah.
So I would go on the 5s and go get a sack of books, and I would just tell them, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want some books. And they would look at me. They're like, you don't know? And I'm like, I'm putting them in my lending library
Yeah.
over at the chamber. I'm like, so just kind of direct me. What are some popular genres?
Good
Because what
variety.
I like is not
Yeah.
necessarily
We got
what
the
everybody
little
else likes.
romance, little western, little
That's right.
mystery. little
And I
whodunit.
do see people coming and bringing books and then picking books to
Yeah,
take with them.
that's
So
another thing. Oh, and by the way, too, if you've got the plastic bottle caps
Yes.
for the benches, the chamber is a drop-off location.
Yes,
You can
and
drop
our
them off.
bucket is right
Peanut
outside the front door. Oh, and we have partnered with Eastern New Mexico Medical Center on the peanut butter as well. They're doing a big peanut butter drive.
Okay.
Because that is one of the things that the food pantries need a lot of because it's
Okay.
a great source of protein.
Yeah.
and it's the least donated food.
And it's the least donated food.
Because I
Absolutely.
think people keep it because they're like, I'm keeping my peanut
Right.
butter. You know what I mean?
So we are a donation site for that as well. So come to the chamber and drop off your peanut butter.
So your favorites, whatever you got. If you're a Jif person or a Skippy
Right.
or a Peter Pan,
Then
creamy,
get an
chunky.
extra jar and come drop it off. I know I've cleaned out my cupboard. I know that Gary's cleaned out his, and there was a fight at our house
Ah,
because I'm a crunchy peanut butter person. apparently my family is not. And so they wanted to get rid of all the crunchy peanut butter. I wanted to get rid of all of the creamy peanut butter.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing one of each.
All right, we gotta wrap it up.
Okay.
But I do. This is where I can play a little Switzerland on the peanut butter creamy crunchy. This is my way of if I'm gonna invest time in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I'm gonna get both. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the creamy to protect the bread.
Okay.
And then I go crunchy on top to creamy to keep the bread intact. Because sometimes you spread crunchy peanut butter, it kind of shreds up the bread. So if you put a layer of creamy and then hit the crunchy on top and then go with your jelly and all, bread integrity intact, and you've got the crunch you desire.
Okay. I will try that now. My kids are going to think I'm nuts, but that's okay.
That's the point. It's crunchy.
All right.
Awesome. Well, do we get it all? Anything
I
we
think
missed?
we did.
Gary, did we get it all?
Business after hours. Oh my gosh.
Lunch and Learn.
The Lunch and Learn, April 22nd at the Bondurant Room. We will open the doors and start serving food at 11:30.
The Roswell Public Library.
Yes, Roswell Public Library. 11:30, $10 a plate, and we've got the ribbon cutting for the Fine Arts League April 16th at 1 p.m.
Nice. Yeah, go there, and we might pick up an art piece or two.
That's right.
Meet some local artists. It's kind of a mall of local artists. That's really kind of what the Fine Arts League, you know, the building and all that. It really is, and it's different every time you go in there. And if you want to learn to be arts and doing arts and stuff, even if you're not an artist, but you want to do artist things and become an artist, they help you do all that too. They have classes, and you walk in there and say you want to learn to do something, there'll be about 10 people that jump up and want to help you do it. So
Absolutely.
So, thank you guys as always.
Thank you.
And we'll see you here next time.
All right.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you, and have a blessed day.
You do the same, and stay dry and or less wind, whatever you're going to get the next couple days.
That's right.
Stay.
Dress accordingly. Dress in layers.
That's right. Protect yourself and those around you. All right, 7:52. Let's pause for news. Kim Commando, your Chaves County Sports Update brought to you by DSI and an ad or two. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.